A little something special for the WGGGMBUCC. It's a lyrical sculpture in the sand that I carve. This is Flash on the mic, now on the Algarve. From 40 to 60, we are on the attack. If I can just get some vitamin I from my back. Foot on the line, yeah, I'm ready to go. Or did I just pull a muscle? Hold on for a moment. Play it cool, just act like I'm young. Got flicks on my wrist and lyrics on my tongue. 20 more, 10 more years left to go. Tricks from the past and a buttery flow. A little slow off the start, I like to call my speed brisk. The sunshine glints off my slow-moving disc. You know how it goes with the sand between my toes. I got none of the pivots, but all the throws. Yeah, I got some dodgy knees. Disc in my hand and the sun in the sky. My dad bod goes jiggle and my hugs they fly. The spirits are rising like a disc on the breeze, going miles out of bounds to the Portuguese seas. I played a point, yeah, I need a sub and a good long soak in an XL tub. Don't need to run anymore, I'm one of 14 handlers. Happy Gilmore this disc like we're all Adam Sandlers. I'm slow off the start, I like to call it brisk. The sunshine glints on my slow-moving disc. You know how it goes with the sand between my toes. We got none of the pivots, but all the throws. Alright, let's finish this off. My 6'2" still works in the bar. I can see for miles. Got drinks on my radar. Portimao party is the place we flee for the friends we see in these great memories. Yeah, I feel the spirit as I pull every sinew. Shatter my knees, yet we're gonna continue. Take this hand, better yet carry me from the beach to the bar, better yet to the sea. I'm slow off the start, I like to call my speed brisk. The sunshine glints off my slow-moving disc. You know how it goes with the sand between our toes. We got none of the pivots, but all of the throws.
Welcome back to Sardinia, Villisimius, the host site at WGGMBUCC 2025. We're into the semifinal, and we've got Team Finland taking on US's Chicken Packs. My name's Stefan Rapazzo alongside John Dock to bring the action your way. Thanks for joining us here on ULTI.TV. This one poised to be a beauty, Doc. What are your hot takes before we get into this one?
We want very early Finland to have a 2 or 3 point lead, and I think we can get something potentially close to a universe point here. I think Finland have already played 1 or 2 of the US teams, and they've struggled a little bit. I think not necessarily with depth, but more with the speed yesterday against. I think it was Natsuo. I can't fully remember, but I remember it was just, for me, it was just a thing of speed. The disc skills are there. When they're shooting deep, their throws, they potentially have some of the best throws I've seen this weekend consistently. And yesterday in that game against Natsuo, I said I saw what I think maybe are 5 of the 10 best plays this weekend all in one game. So it's no surprise they lost by a bit yesterday. And if they don't come up against all those odds against them today, they're a team that can cause some problems here.
It's a great opening pull. Comes in very bladey, bounces and rolls out. And Finland will come in at the front of their end zone. Vasquio with the disc.
And the Finns playing slightly, it's almost a crosswind here, but from throwing on it, I assure you that the way Finland are playing now is the harder end zone to score into.
Vasquio gets a cut. Ventoranta goes to the sideline, has Baca getting covered up. Ventoranta looks off the Vasquio option, and there's a pick called. Leads to Hastbaka. Vasquio comes all the way around. Vasquio tests the mark, gets it moving. Ventorata sends deep, that's too much on it. And the wind helps it. Well, it's weird, the wind's going the other way, but it still seems like the wind pushing it back towards the sideline helped it to the ground quicker.
Yeah, I think I'm a little surprised to see Chickenbacks coming out in the flick force here, because I feel every time I'm thinking, wow, that was insane. It's when Finland are playing, it's watching someone throw a flick hook into the wind. So perhaps they know something we don't, we did get the turn there. But I think forcing backhand here, because it's not necessarily into the wind, it's more about the angles of the throws, and I think the Finland flicks are going to be a real problem in this wind for Chickenbacks, unless they just have the speed, which we saw yesterday the US teams tend to have.
Yeah, Donofrio, that one went beyond Melanie Deaver. And Finland get it back. Break chance squandered. Vasquio sends deep. High overhead and taken down. Vantoranta with the first goal, and Finland take a 1-0 lead.
Like I said, I don't think they've done their homework. I just said it. Finland's flick hooks are not going to be a problem for them. It's just a case of whether the Chickenbacks defenders can keep up. And I mean, I don't want to be too critical of the US defender there, but what did he think was going to happen in that situation guarding that cutter? He gave him 3 or 4 meters deep against possibly the best flick hook at this tournament. And even if you haven't watched them yet, you'd have seen one of these throws in passing and you'd have known it's just such a weapon. And that throw looked, maybe you're watching from the sideline and you're thinking, or you're watching at home on the stream and you're thinking, oh, that looked kind of obvious. I think the American player just presumed the wind was going to help enough, and that's why they gave the deep. But again, it's not really a problem for some of the Finns thrower. I can't say he's the best one.
Amongst for sure, Vasquio.
It's more, I'm not sure which one of their players is the best, but they have possibly 2 or 3 of the best throwers of flicks into the wind I've seen.
Here come Chickenbacks.
I'd almost say beyond this tournament.
From their own end, Ruiz gets it again. Back to Deaver. Ruiz. Deaver looks for the shovel pass, but Ruiz hangs on before coming sideline to Masket. Masket to Ruiz. Opens up again on the lateral. Masket leads to corner. Great throw, and Ruiz runs into it to collect. Nice opening possession for Chickenbacks.
Yeah, and I think that those last 2 scores kind of summarize how this game is likely to go. I think you can expect the Finns are going to have to rely on their deep game. Maybe it's the best deep game at the tournament. I would say it probably is, but mostly because that's what they've been using the most. Maybe some of the other teams have it, but haven't had to use it because they're so good at the unders, like Chickenbacks there. And remember, I think Chickenbacks currently the top seed. They did come from behind yesterday against Spangled. We both went down and caught the last 5 minutes of that game.
It was a wild finish.
It was I think we got there, I'm not sure exactly. I think it was maybe like 11-9 or something, or 11-8. Pax scored, and then they get 3 breaks in a row. I believe that's what we saw at the end, but it was pretty crazy. And I still think Natsuo may be the best team here, but Chickenbacks, the team, if a team's going to beat them, I think it's going to be Chickenbacks, and Chickenbacks the favourites to make the final, in my opinion, in this game.
Whew. Little backpedaling down to the ground for Olaunen. And the next throw given straight over to Chickenbacks. This is Middlebrook, and he throws in, and a layout D by Ruyainen gives it back to Finland.
Yeah, very different looking offensive line here from the Finns compared to the last point.
Tihaunen fires deep, and it is caught and run into. Great finish by Santilja, and Finland hold again.
Yeah, so I think I said it was different players, but I forgot to mention it's still going to be a flick hook into the wind, no problem, to the receiver. I mean, a bit of me almost doesn't want to elaborate on it too much to give the Finns a chance tomorrow in the final if they do make it, but I just feel if you're playing the Finns, you just have to stop that weapon because it's too much. I don't know if I've seen them throw a backhand hook for a score but their flick hooks are just some of the best. And if you want to learn from some people, learn some Finnish, talk to some of these players on how to throw flick hooks, because these are absolutely world-class throws in these conditions. And I don't care what age bracket it is, you cannot just. It's impressive how many of them just have that flick hook.
Here's the pull from Asikainen, and that lands in and bounces out, so front of the end zone again. Class unplayable pulls.
I think you'd almost take that over a pull that lands at the back of the end zone in this division, because you don't really want to have to waste your energy sprinting down like 50 meters, or not actually sure how long the field is in Ultimate on Beach here, but we'll say 40 meters. You don't want to be sprinting that down when you.
Ruiz sends deep for Masket, and too far. Bit too much on that one. Masket had no chance, but good field position.
I'll tell you a trick in this game. If you can pronounce their second name without asking them the name, they don't have the best flick hooks on the field. So the Finns, that would be a score, I think. You maybe saw the Finns throwing it, making it look easy, think, oh, flick hooks just must be very easy here. And I think you could see there that was not so easy from one of the best players on the PAX team.
Yeah, one of the best players in the division, Ruiz, 48-year-old from Louisville. Colorado Mama Bird in 97 to 01. So he's just entering the division. Big bid there, but the catch is made by Butila. And then the send, there it is, the forehand huck. And woo, a little bit of indecision, thankfully for Finland. Furka made the play, and they didn't D each other, which we've seen some of that at this tournament. 3-1 with that break.
That's how good the flicks are. Two of their players could have caught it. They had time to decide, hey, do you want to catch it or will I catch it? Again, just another great throw. I think that one might look like the most difficult. It's probably the least impressive one I've seen, and that says something about the quality. So it's Chicken Packs 2, Flick Hooks 3, I think is the score. I think it's 3-2. I could be wrong. It's not a.
Can I get a score, Tsang?
3-1. My bad. I guess yeah, we'll take. So I missed the turn. So was that a break?
Yes.
That was. Yeah, I need to
the
wake up.
The turn was the flick hack that you said only works.
You're right. Yeah, my bad.
You can't pronounce
so,
the last names.
And point gets proven. So basically, yeah, Flick Hooks 3, Chicken Packs 1. And like I said, you wanted the Finns up 3 points for this game to go to Universe. So I'm going to say this is still slightly favour Packs. They're eventually going to stop letting them throw Flick Hooks. Well, let's see. So,
cash into Deaver. Kicks it. Elliott finds Deaver. Deaver back to center. Elliott gives the backhand fake. Deaver to the corner and hits. Beautiful throw. Deaver to Deaver. And that is Will to Melanie for the goal.
Yeah, nice. Really, another example of a well-thrown flick there. Won't put it in the flick hook category, but a nice outside in. And with the wind pushing the top of the disc, you have to be a very high-level thrower to get that to come back in front of your receiver like that. And not a much-needed score for Pax, but obviously, I guess if it was the other way around, it would be 4-1. So you could argue it was much needed in that sense.
Will Deaver, the managing director for competition and national teams at USA Ultimate. I think I said the president prior, but that is the official title.
President would have been a lot easier than
yes.
that paragraph.
I don't think it is officially. National Experience Team USA World Games 2005.
Don't need to say any more than that, but you can if you want.
They won against Australia in the final that year. They win most years except for the very first year.
Were they invited?
Yeah, where was that? Was it in Germany. Long list of accomplishments for Will Deaver. Santillia sends a flick hook deep to the end zone, and the race is won by the Chicken Pack's defender, Stanley Strunk. And luckily so, because I think it was just close enough. It would have worked if the D didn't get there.
Yeah, from what I've seen of them, I would say that the thrower there has been, maybe would prefer if they could have that other way around. I feel like he's been on the receiving end of a lot of those, and again, it was probably, obviously it was their worst flick hook of the game so far, but it was catchable, and the defender just had too much speed. And like I said, if the Chicken Pack's speed is what makes a decisive factor here, the Finns are going to struggle, and in that one, that was the cause of the turn.
Ruiz with the disc gets that one for Donofrio and led to the end zone, but it's off target. And the backup plan, almost able to bail it out, is Schlosser. But it does go to ground, and Finland will get another chance.
Yeah, just that awkward kind of layout distance where you think you don't need to lay out to catch it, and then when you realize it's too late already.
First under comes and hits. Now Rui Heinen sends Santillia, but too far. And it'll go turned over once more. Chicken Packs go to Ruiz right away. Ruiz puts one up. We've got a one-on-one, 73 versus 74, and it's Strunk who takes it. Straight to Ruiz and open in the end zone for the goal. Jamie cashing one in.
Yeah, just a bit of a tough one there for the Finns to just the speed mismatch on the first one, and then just slightly overthrow the receiver on the next one, and the flick hooks kind of letting them down a little bit there, especially the second one. The player was open, the speed matchup wasn't a factor, and again, every turn or goal they've had has come on the end of a flick. So at the start I was thinking maybe it was questionable defense, but every upwind one, every one from right to left has been in a goal. Every one from left to right I think has been a turnover. So I don't know if we've seen a Finland male matching player throw a backhand yet for more than 10 meters, but I guess we know what to do. Force them flick when they're playing to the right side of the screen, and force them backhand. Keep forcing them towards us. Keep the action on this side of the field. We won't complain.
Now, we've got a comment in the chat saying that Pax is a Latin word which is pronounced as pox, making the name Chicken Pox. Not sure if it's intentional, but it seems more likely.
They're Americans though, so I don't know how much Latin they have over there, but
they do have Wikipedia and can source these things out.
They do have a couple of older players. Maybe they grew up in Latin.
Hasbaka throws high, and Vasquio takes two hands on a layout. It's back to Hasbaka. And Hasbaka tries to chisel forward, and that gets broken up. Pox. Go to Deaver. Deaver running out of ideas, and Hasbaka gets the run through D on McDowell, but there is conversation.
That was very close. Very close.
McDowell leads over to Elliott. Elliott takes McDowell again in the middle. Now Elliott takes one hand as he runs into it. Appleyard, immediate fake of the forehand, goes back to Elliott and McDowell. And then the shot for goal is Middlebrook, and Boots takes one that is a lead taker now, and Chicken Pox have taken 3 in a row now.
Yeah, three points unanswered there. They get 2 breaks. Finn's just struggling with the flicks a bit. Still haven't been forced backhand. Because they're playing now from left to right, I think we've said that it makes sense if we see chicken packs coming down with the flick force here. Makes sense. Took them a few points to get going, and like I said, I think you wanted to see the Finnish take maybe a 3-point lead. I felt was a good amount. They didn't get the chance. They were 2 points up. They were 3-1 up, but I didn't expect it to kind of change so quickly and that chicken packs would go and get 3 in a row. But their American team, they did it against Spangled yesterday. Like I said,
they're doing it now. They didn't wait, so they're not waiting right till the end of the game this time.
Exactly, and I do think they're the biggest threat to Natsuo in my opinion. And so, I mean, if I'm a complete neutral, which essentially I am,
that's a great pull.
I would probably be hoping for chicken packs Natsuo final if I had to pick what I would think would give the most entertaining game tomorrow. But the Finns here are going to have some stuff to say about that, and Spangled in the next game.
I'd be pretty happy to see Spangled take chicken pox on again after the way that game ended. I think they would be more than happy to have another crack, and after last year's USAC moment in the Natsuo versus Spangled game, I'm looking forward to the repeat of that coming up next.
Is that the clip you showed me where the disc went the wrong way? Oh, yes. Yeah. We need to remind people to look at that one again.
Yeah, we'll find the timestamp before the game starts, but that one thrown out of bounds, and Masket picks up straight away, and once again it's Jamie doing the cash-in for Pox.
Yeah, Finn's starting to struggle now. It's kind of similar to the way they went yesterday in their game against the US team also, where they had a good solid start. The flick hooks were working, and then again we saw flick force there, but they're just the short throws. It's weird. I would say they're a bit like me as a player. If it's deep and open side, they're going to be able to hit it most of the time, but they don't obviously have to throw as many of these inside break throws as much earlier in this tournament, because their deep game is so effective that they can probably just get free open side all the time. But then when you come up against a team that limits that open side, and you have to start hitting the inside breaks, and you haven't been forced to throw them all week, they're going to be a little bit rusty, because you've had a whole week of throwing something else and not looking for those options. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of turns from the Finns on the shorter throws, or maybe the inside breaks. It's just because they haven't had to throw those in the wind this week. Whereas I think with Chicken Pack's team, they've probably done a bit of everything this week, and they're just going to have a more all-rounded game that adjusts quicker.
And Finland receive the pull and get it moving. Ulonen goes back. And the lead throw to Santilja is there. He looks up for the immediate scoring throw, but opts otherwise. Antinoja goes to Ulonen, and then into the dump space for Tihaunen. Santilja fires across, what a throw! And hits Ulonen for the goal, and Finland back on the board, make it 5-4.
Yeah, they get their score, first score of the game that wasn't from a flick hook. That one, the inside one that caused the turn on the last point, but this time they get it right. And again, this one was a much needed score, and I think for the Finns now it's about just keeping it close, try and keep it close as you can towards the end, and then hope a couple of mistakes creep in. We get some shots here of people bopping up and down in the waves. Maybe after this round of games, a couple of the players will decide to run in as well. Maybe some of the Spangled players were tempted to do it yesterday after throwing away that lead, but stick the head underwater for a few seconds and refocus and come back again.
And the pull goes up. Grant Cashin lets it hit the ground and then plays. Deaver. Wants Cashin back now. A lot of well-covered options until Ruiz gets open. Ruiz has blazing speed. Lead, Kreuziger gets it through to Melanie Deaver, and now Grant Cashin, and Ruiz easily runs into that one for the goal, make it 6-4 for Pox.
Yeah, unlucky there for the Finland defender. He makes the bid, and I've often talked to players when I coach them, and I often say if you can make a bid that's close to the disc and you're also in the line of the receiver, it's usually worth it, even at the expense of occasionally giving them maybe the next pass free because you're on the ground. But if you're behind them, don't do it, because you're not increasing the chances of them unsure whether the disc is going to come to them. So I'm okay with that bid where he looks to get it, even though he's probably not going to touch it. It might create a turn by the player just flinching for a second, but once they miss that, then the next two players are wide open and free, and an easy score for Chicken Packs. 6-4, this one here to take half. It's been a while since we've had half taken before the time, but looks like, well, potentially this one could be it. There's only a minute or two left, so Finland might just catch this and bomb a flick hook straight away. But I'd like to see Chicken Packs come down with a backhand force here if they're showing signs of adjusting, and if they're coming down here again in a flick force, I might question their ability to adjust to the other team.
That one will be bricked for Finland.
I'm really struggling to also figure out the rotation of the Finns on who plays upwind, downwind of their lines. I'm not sure how big is their roster. It's a pretty big roster, is it?
The Finns.
Yeah, it's a sizable roster compared
much
to some
bigger.
of the other teams.
It's like at least 5 deeper.
Yeah, so I think maybe that's a bit of its squad rotation, because I feel like there's a couple of players that can bomb flick hooks, and I'm not sure I actually see any of them on here, although I'm sure one of them will prove me wrong within 15 seconds.
Picked up and brought into play by Koski, and then the high throw goes over top of the intended target, and Chickenpox will have another chance to break, and if they do it here, it's a half taker.
Yeah, and if they do it here, I believe they'd be also coming out on offense in the second half, I think. So
it could be the 2 for none.
After that 3-1 run, it's now been 5-1 the last 6 points.
Turnover there, though, offers a short field. Asi Kayanin picks up.
Really need this one.
And tight defense everywhere, just beyond the blind arm of Donofrio. And it's with Furka. Now Koski.
I think she's a little unhappy there that the Chickenpox player came across as she was looking to maybe throw that crossfield backhand. I'm going to guess can only be a foul called. Can't see any other reason to stop there. I was expecting a score to be thrown, to be honest.
High release backhand goes to Viljami, and he finds the corner. It's Furka for the goal, and Finland bring it back to within 1, 5-6.
Yeah, so I think no matter what now, it's going to be half at 7. I think it was going to be that anyway, but bring it back to within 1. And again, the way the game's gone, like I said, if it was that strong start for the Finns was crucial to this game, because if they had traded at the start and Chickenpox had, we'll say, gone 2-2 in those first 4 points, it would have been a 7-4 game right now, and that would seem like a much more difficult mountain to climb for the Finns. It's not a mountain yet, more like that hill we see in the background, but it's not going to be an easy one here. They do have to get the breaks, and Packs are going to come out on offense in the second half. So
good time for a break if you're a Finnish fan. It's always a good time for a break. It's also always a good time to hit that like button. And lots to like about this semi so far. Short of that pull. But make sure you hit that button all the same.
hasn't been too many pulls that went that far OB on this side of the field so far, but they've been pretty consistent in getting them to land inbounds and rolling. You can see when the disc lands about 40 meters off the field, it gives you an idea of the kind of wind these players are playing in, and you wouldn't really think it watching some of the throws. So again, you want to praise the quality of the throwing in this game. It is the beach, it's on the wind, it's windy.
Cashin struts it to the line. He'll meet Santilia there. Wobbler, foul called, play on. Deaver picks up. Deaver throws inside. Krutzinger to Cashin, now Ruiz. Ruiz isolates Deaver, then McDowell, then a hand block there. What a takeaway by Tihonen.
Yeah, and great work on the defense there as well by cushioning. He basically had his job done twice there. And this is a big time to get it as well, to make those defensive plays.
Into the backfield. Ulaunen and a hand block there with a fist pump. Krutzinger gets it. Now back to Ruiz and then Cashin. Cashin high for Ruiz. Deaver near the line, leads, and another hand block, but caught this time and straight in. What a play. I thought that they had his number there. The hand blocks were coming, but Deaver collecting his own block disc. What a play.
Yeah, I almost let a few swear words bump out there. That was an insane last passage. The whole point, it was crazy. 2 hand blocks, layout grabs, catch in front of the score, pick up, throw it quick. That point was pretty mental, and you got a feel for the Finns a little bit there. That was such a big point for them. If they could have got that, it would have almost shifted the whole momentum of the game. Unable to get it, but if they can keep this kind of energy going for the rest of the game, that 2, possibly 3 point advantage and the breaks they need to get, they'll get some chances.
Well, for now it's halftime. It is Chickenpox 7. Here's another look. Perhaps we're gonna get a Chickenpox 7, Finland 5. Here is a flurry of some of the action we just saw there. Here it is, the hand block. Tihonen almost celebrating, and Deaver, goodness gracious, what a way to end the half. And I'm not sure if I've seen anything exactly like that before. A awesome play by USA Ultimate Big Boss. And with that, we'll take a break for halftime. We'll be back with second half action right after this.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Oh my goodness. That is unbelievable. And created the tip and made for it.
That was absolutely incredible.
I worked for a Michelin star chef making gelato in Paris. I had my own restaurant in Nicaragua and a food truck in Australia. Why wouldn't you watch me? Check out my YouTube channel.
7-5. Chickenpox take the lead with that wild finish to the first half over Finland. We've got 33 minutes have expired. Means about 17 remaining. I'm Stefan Rapazzo here with John Dock, enjoying the action, the weather, the vibes, bit of everything. As that pole lands in and rolls out.
Yeah, Chicken Packs seem to be just happy to let that happen and walk to the front, so I guess they feel maybe perhaps slowing the pace of the game down might help them. I can't really blame them when they have the advantage that the Finns need 3 breaks to win this game now, and when you look at it that way, it really is starting to become a mountain to climb.
Masket bust deep, but the throw comes under to Ruiz, and now McDowell and Ruiz again. Now the throw to Masket, who's come back under. Deaver to Ruiz. And Deaver again. The high release to Masket. He fakes the backhand, looks back to the middle where he finds Ruiz. Ruiz fakes with a forehand, gives a swipe to Test, pops over, Deaver's there. Deaver back to Ruiz. And a pick, I believe, but a stoppage, definitely. And fires, hits to Masket. Masket turns, backhand, and led, and Deaver sees 2 white jerseys pass in front. He misses on the shot to McDowell. Here's another look before we change possession, but it was looking very good for Chickenpox. Their male matching players were getting a lot of touches behind the disc, moved it all the way to that end zone line before the turn.
Yeah, I think we said in the last point, one player diving across, trying to create a block. Didn't work out. This time they send 2 bodies in front of the disc, and it does work out. Big moment here, big opportunity, and looks like it's slightly front to Flik force, but good position here for Finland to have the disc. This deep shot might go. It does.
And it's a bit too far for Yalovara.
Yeah, she spent too much time kind of looking for the disc. The throw wasn't where she needed it to be either.
Deaver fires, gets Krutzinger. And Santilia bids in front of McDowell. Huge layout. They are going to discuss the contact there.
Hard to see it on that one.
Yeah, we were.
I'm sure there was
there was some contact, so I can understand McDowell. He did his best to have some body control to try and get around that left shoulder, but I think he has accepted the foul, and I think that's about right there. He did his best to be clean, but he wasn't, crystal clean. McDowell. And Ruiz makes a sick move, and they turn the 2 defenders inside out this time. Ruiz does find a way through for Deaver. It's 8-5 now. Chickenpox.
Yeah, now we're getting to the stage where every point is massive for the Finns. They can't afford to give up another break. They're going to have to start getting their own breaks soon, and you got to feel they've been a little unlucky, and they've been unlucky in this game. They've had so many moments, like even that foul there, it's like, yes, it's a foul, but if you can adjust your body a little bit more, huge plays, massive layouts, something we didn't see from them yesterday, suggesting maybe that the speed matchups in this game aren't as big of a factor as they were when they played Natsuo yesterday. Chicken Packs just solid, very solid, hard to get the disc off, and the Finns just, again, in a tough spot here to turn this one around with the time left, but they have the players capable of hitting the end zone in one pass, so if they get some turns and you know, they do have a big roster. Maybe they might decide they might want to tighten it up a little bit in anticipation of getting those players on who can hit those shots in those one-shot scores for if they get the turns. I think that's potentially their best way back into it, but Chicken Pack's defense has obviously adjusted a little bit because we haven't seen that many even hooks being thrown by the Finns lately.
Finns pick up and don't throw that first one as it was defended. Haramo. Now goes Ulaunen and Vasquio back to Ulaunen. Vitari to Haramo. Vitari to Vasquio. Hastbaka chisels up the line. She took a couple extra steps on that one for sure.
Hear all the Finland players on the sideline having a laugh.
Hastbaka. And gets hand blocked there. Nice step in front by Schlosser to break up the play. Elliott picks up the disc for Pox and goes to Deaver. Deaver and gets away with one there. Schlosser, I doubt was the intended receiver, but the next throw goes and that was a catch spike, I think, but very quickly caught and put down. So these are the kind of catches that make you wonder.
I think when he throws it back over his own head, it has to be a catch, surely. I don't think you can do that.
Yeah, I mean it is, but
do that without control of the disc is
it's a catch.
Telekinesis
makes it speculative. Those kind of catch spikes, I don't think increase your spirit score ever.
It's not too bad. He's just getting rid of it quick in case he gets the urge to do something more aggressive, or else he's a menace and he's hoping there's a Finnish defender jogging behind him. Like, they should run into this. Unlucky, my friend, but nah, I think just. I mean, it was a big point. I think that one, in my opinion, kind of puts the game to bed. I think that was a pretty big point, and no harm in having a little bit of celebration there. If he feels the same way and he thinks that's the goal that secures his team a place in a World Championship final.
Well, if you're Chicken Pox, it's all taken and no given. It's 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. And the pull set to go and gone by Mascot will land just out of bounds. And come into the brick mark.
I think they're going to take their time coming back in with this one.
You see Spangled warming up in the background there. They'll be up next against Noot Bootsma. Koski sends, floats, and Mascot gets in front and swipes it away, denying Asikainen.
Yeah, maybe the only player on the field taller than him was the defender there, so gets position, great jump. It's not so easy to make those jumps in the sand, and not a bad flick hook throw, but just a turn. The defender just got into position. The disc drifted away from the receiver at the end.
Appleyard comes under to Cashin. Cashin overshoots that one for McDowell and gives it back to the Finns. Koski, low throw, picked up. Viljami. And Viljami and Middlebrook discuss and play on. Viljami, Oivio. And then over for Asikainen. Viljami sends deep. wants Asikainen, gets him this time, and an equally quick over the head celebration for the Finns. They make it 6 against Pox's 9.
Yeah, 4 flick hooks and 2 non-flick hook scores for the Finns there, getting back to what got them into this game in the first place, and much needed scoring. Again, I still think it's a bit too much to ask for them to make this comeback now. They're going to have to get 4 breaks in a row. I can't see a situation where if chicken packs get to 10 that the Finns are going to get to 11. It would be the most impressive comeback today. It wouldn't be the most unlikely one. I still think that first game we had today, I thought it was taking near a miracle to come back, but this one still a chance. But I mean, realistically, we always know there's always a chance. This is as low as the chances get.
Time is about 6 minutes before we're gonna get our time cap whistle.
Nice pull.
Cashin opens things up to Kurtzinger. And Cashin again now to Ruiz. Ruiz fires. Deaver, what a shot. Perfect throw by Ruiz right over the defense and cutting through the wind. A bit with the wind, and sometimes that's equally difficult. Ruiz gets again. Deaver has a first step that can't be contained, and Chicken take it to 10. They're up by 4.
Yeah, really nice flick hook here on the near sideline. Low zippy, gets it over the defender and back down quick. You'll see it here again. That's really difficult throw, but just perfect on the money. If he tries to put it into the end zone, maybe there's a much higher chance of a turnover. So happy to throw it short, and then some good work in front of the end zone. Credit to the force. He's been all over the place today, getting hand blocks and hands on everything. Unable to get much there, but you can see the reward you can get for being very active on the force. Maybe not in that point, but in previous points. So. Not quite game point yet. Be surprised if we got to 13, but I think getting to 13 is pretty realistic. I think the Finns' heads are going to drop a little bit now. I think even they will start to realize this is just such a tough situation to be in.
Koski throws inside for Viljami. And again, Koski, Viljami exchange through the middle. Vitali, Vaskio. And Vaskio winds up and then goes back. Viljami to Vaskio. Viljami to Vitali. Vitali, and now that one has been claimed down, but there is a call. Vaskio gave up on the play because he heard something.
I think to be honest, I think a bit of him gave up on the play there because he realized, oh shit. I think that one.
I mean, I don't even know if that one was legitimate down.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the catch was down, but
I mean, it was indicated as down by Matt Elliott immediately.
Like, I feel if it's so potentially there was a call, but I mean, I still think a bit of him just gave up on that because of the way it was flying. He knows he has to get through about 4 Americans to get that. In fairness, there's been very few calls in this game. I think yesterday, the Finns game, there was a couple more calls and discussions on the force. It's been a very spirited game today in this one, and they're just going to say the disc is up maybe. And
can we get the replay once more? Here it is again. Now they're saying, is it up? I actually did think it was. Oh, but you can't tell. It's so close, but I can't say conclusively it was down.
So I think they're saying it was down on the field, and I think that means the player probably felt maybe he might have had it, but I think if he's unsure and he's happy to accept the down call, it must have been down.
Elliott turns and hits for Donofrio, and then Schlosser, but it's going back.
Our travel call now, is it that time of the day? Have I done it again and jinxed it by saying there's not been too many calls in this game and getting I mean, for me, a travel is always a travel. I'm fine with any margin of a throw. If you throw it and the person's foot drags any bit, I'm okay with it always being called. But I don't know if it's just being called now because it's later in the game.
Foul called on the throw, accepted. Vasquio knows he got the hand. Donofrio gets it back. Elliott to the sideline, Strunk back to Elliott. Elliott leads forward, Donofrio finds McDowell, and right on the front of the goal line, nearly dead center, goes back. Elliott hits the corner, and Strunk cashes in for a goal as chickenpox extend even further.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd get a game to 13 here, but chickenpox going to get a chance to get a break here to make it a game to 13. Time's going to go during this point, so I think it's going to be finished this one at 1 almost certainly. And yeah, just a bit like yesterday with the Finns, it's kind of just a situation now where you're just playing, trying to put some points on the board. They have some players asking how much time are left, but I don't really think that matters too much how much time is left in this one, unless they're just wondering about giving some players some extra game time before the game ends.
So 11-6. Time's gone. We still finish this point. You just said, Doc, yeah?
Yeah, I think finish this at 1, so
goal.
Potential to get a game that chickenpox get to 13 here. Yesterday, I believe it was 13-7, I think was the score for the Finns against the American team, so very high likelihood we could get the same thing here.
Finns moving it out. Vatoranta gets it again. Haramo to Santiglia, and Santiglia finds the corner. Great grab there by Ferdika. Cashin was coming, but not in enough time. Ends up with a beard imprint of sand.
Yeah, great response there by the Finns. Might be not realistic to come back in this one, but they get enough points on the board, or they make a good passage of play there. They can take that momentum. I mean, they can still take it into the rest of this game, but it's good to finish with a passage of play like that, showing you can work the unders really well and effectively as well. I imagine they're going to be playing for a bronze medal tomorrow, which is maybe they wanted to do a little higher as they came second last team, but good to see that they have both sides of the game capable of doing it against the Americans. Either way, they're going to be playing another American team tomorrow, so a few minutes left in this one. Their season hasn't ended yet, so here we go.
Game to 12 confirmed. And here is the poll. Will it be the last one of the game? Cashin picks up and goes to Kritzinger. Kritzinger to Cashin. A Finnish zone, something different, little upside down elevator thumber. And Deaver goes over top to Kritzinger, back to Deaver. Deaver to Ruiz. And again, Deaver. Middle of the pitch. Ruiz and Deaver exchange. Ruiz is free in the middle. Turns for Cashin. And chickenpox are going to the final, winning the semi here 12-7, dominant fashion. They started slow out the gates, but after the 3-1 buffer they gave, it was really all chicken pox.
Yeah, really impressive game from them after the start. I think, well, they're in the final now, and they're either going to be up against Spangle or Natsuo. And I think I was a little more impressed by the Natsuo performance against the Finns. If that ends up being a game, it'll be a great one. I think either final we're going to get now is great. The Finns, they're still going to play for third tomorrow, but they've definitely, I think it's fair to say they have been, maybe they deserve their game for a medal tomorrow. They've been really impressive. Just sometimes a couple of things let them down. So we're going to see chicken packs in the final in Finland tomorrow, and got one more semi-final to come up.
And that one coming up next. Make sure you stay logged on. For John Dock, I'm Stefan Rapazzo. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch y'all next time.
Thanks.
Yeah, ultimate.
ULTI.TV.
But you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like home. Yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you. All that I crave when you're away, nights are sleepless. Do we need space? Yeah, maybe a break. Boy, you're my weakness. Give and we take, the love that we make, it's my favorite drug. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like home. Yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you. You got me feeling some type of way. You make me wanna stay in all day. You're the reason I can't get out my head. I just can't stop thinking about you. 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 I just can't stop thinking about you.
Head underwater, falling back into you. I thought we'd be smarter, I got nothing left to lose. You said you fall with me, no matter how far it goes. Down deep and under, we're stuck in this pattern, but I need you close. All I ever wanted was for you to prove me wrong. You're changing our colors again and again. I could never let you go. Something about you feels so different, makes me wanna risk it. Every time I look at you, you pull me Not sure I really care. We're all of our demons.